Hey there, it's Sunday with Honey Brand Marketing. And today's video, we are talking about how to launch a podcast in 60 days or less. All right. This is going to be quite a lengthy video. I do have some notes, so you may see me look down from time to time. I'll do my best to do it from memory and keep you engaged here. Um, yeah. So, one thing we do at Honey Brand Marketing, I love podcasts. I've had several podcasts myself. I've launched podcasts for major media networks, and I've also helped individuals launch podcasts. And so it's my joy to do this video to let you in on a fun world that I absolutely love. Let me start by saying there are third-party sites that you can hire and you can upload your episodes to, whether just audio files or video files, and they will take care of everything for you. They will do the RSS feed for you, they would distribute it in the marketplace for you, and all that stuff. So that's really great that those services are out there, and it helps people really get started really easily. As long as you pay to play, you're in the game. Now, the only downside about those platforms is that ownership of your content. And you want to be sure that you're storing your files in a place where you have a backup hard drive, external drive, somewhere where you can really capture and keep your information. Because God forbid anything happens to those websites, then you're not able to, or you get logged out or something, or you don't remember your login or whatever, then you'll be unable to access your podcast content and unable to continue to upload if anything happens, right? So I want to start by that. So that could be a real quick video for some of you. Okay, great. I'm going to hire a third party site and I'm going to get started. Good for you. Then there are some of you who want to have more ownership of your product. Maybe you want to display it on your website as well. Maybe you have a mobile app for your community and you want to put episodes in your app, or maybe you want to put episodes behind a paywall. You want to pay attention because I'm going to go over a lot of those details in this video. So the first thing you want to do when first you want to get a podcast name. Hopefully, you already have that, a concept. There's actually some really great coaches out there as well that you can work with that will walk you through this process, teach you how to set everything up. And they take time to help you really refine your name and um, really get clear about your messaging and what you want to say. We do that here too with Honey Brand Marketing as well, and we'll set you up. Okay. So, yeah, that's another thing that I just want to plug in there. But there's some coaches out there that can help you do that. And I've seen the really great work that they've done as well. So I want to encourage you first, get your name clear. Then you want to go ahead and work on your graphic, get your image. And you don't have to do that in the beginning, but you definitely want to have a really great graphic. I like to think of your graphic as your album cover. So if you come from the generation where you remember albums, if you don't come from the generation where you remember albums, then think about magazine covers. And if you don't come from that generation, then think about, I don't know, like a really boss Instagram post, if you will, that just is like gorgeous and aesthetically pleasing, or something that you save on Pinterest. You want to think about something like that, and you want to make your graphic, your image, your billboard ad. It should be something. There's some people that change their graphic every season when they drop a new season, because a new season is like a new album for them. I think that's pretty cool. Depending on the topic that you're talking about in your podcast, that could be something that's pretty cool. But I love the idea of thinking about your graphic square as an album cover. It don't have to be like that. If you just want to get started quickly, you can go on Canva, whip something up, even under the free version on Canva. Boom, there's your square, plug it in, get started. Okay. Is that how I got started? That's how I got started. But when working with my clients, we have graphic designers that specifically design something specific and unique. And the beautiful thing about taking your time to divine, excuse me, the beautiful thing about taking your time to design something unique is that it's yours, it's unique, it's one of a kind, nobody else will have it. And so that's the benefit. I love the idea of an album cover, especially for those of you who are the face of your brand or your business, because you can have fun with it and you should have fun with it. Think about a music video and how an artist can have all these different looks in one music video, or their albums throughout the years have a different energy and tone to it, and just the whole fanfare of the set and the makeup and the vibe and the music. You should incorporate all of that into the photo shoot for your podcast album cover, if you will. And all of that energy and that essence and that vitality will come through, and people will click on just to listen to your podcast. Yes, because you have a dope dynamic name, but also because you have a dope dynamic picture. Let's be real. People like things that look good. Okay, or look appealing to them. So that's something that you should take into consideration. Okay, for the technical stuff, you need to have a place to host the podcast. Equipment will, I'll touch on equipment briefly in this video, but equipment will likely have to be a whole nother video because there's a lot of professional equipment out there as well as everyday equipment out there. And that already is probably 2 or 3 different videos right there, or this video will be really, really long. So I'll touch on it briefly, but I'll do another one that's more in depth. So you're going to have a place where you want to host it. And like I said, there are third-party sites that take care of all of these pieces for you. But if you, like me or like my clients, you want to have something where you're hosting it on your actual website so that when people come to your website, they can access your podcast. Or even if it's not publicly accessible, you want it on your website so that you have the full ownership and autonomy of it, of where your information is and where your content is. Then you want to host it on your website. Once you do that, you are going to want an RSS feed. I should also mention that you don't have to just host it on your website. There's some people that host on SoundCloud. I did that for my first podcast. I hosted on SoundCloud. It was very easy. You can get the RSS feed from there and plug your RSS feed into Spotify or Apple Podcasts, where you need to make an account there. And then you are going to take your RSS feed, your .RSS feed, and you're going to plug that into those platforms. And it's going to pull those audio files from the place where you're hosting the audio files. Now, that can be your website, or that can be, another third-party platform. But again, the place to have the most control, if you will, over your content is going to be the place where you're self-hosting that information. Yeah, and there may be different platforms that you might have to plug into your website, and that may be additional subscriptions. We could talk about that in a private call with you and I if that's something that you're interested in talking about. Okay, next, I talked about Spotify and Apple. You're going to take the RSS feed, and you're going to put it into that account. And then you are going to upload video. A lot of people want to do video today with their podcast. And so Spotify has a really cool feature where you can play an episode and it also has a video attached to it, and it'll play it right on the Spotify app. So that's an option available to you as well. And then most people upload their podcasts to YouTube. Again, there are third-party sites that you can pay a subscription to that will handle all that process for you. But if you're doing it a la carte, then that's something that you might want to do. If you're not hosting your video on your website, if you're not hosting your podcast video on YouTube, there are also other options to host it on your website or even behind paywalls. Now, you can do a paywall on your website, or you can do paywall on a third party like Patreon, for example. And so sometimes people tease an episode where you can get so much of it for free. And then after that, you have to pay a subscription or join a membership or something like that to get access to the full episode. Plenty of people do that. And that's something that's available to you as well. Let's see what else here. You also want to have a record schedule, and you want to start pitching guests. Now, record schedule is just a content calendar. You can pull a content calendar from anywhere. You can make one on an Excel sheet or on Google Spreads, and just go ahead and fill out when you're recording, what topics you're going to be recording, and what time and all that. If there's going to be a guest on, then you want to start pitching that person. There are people that appear on podcasts as paid guests. A lot of people don't know that, but there are people who will ask for payment for their time, and then there are people that don't. All right, so that's something you should just be aware of as you are putting yourself out there, and as you are building your dream guest list, and as you begin to pitch people to join you on your show and your platform. And then lastly, I wanted to talk a little bit about equipment. And again, I will go over this super quickly because this could be a much longer video and probably will be, and therefore will end up being another video. But podcast equipment, there's so many options out there available to you. You have your professional microphones that are out there and available to you, as well as professional feed in equipment for your audio mics. Usually Fourskewer, excuse me, is one of the main converter boxes that people use to really have that professional, crisp audio quality. But nowadays, you also have people just buying microphones off of Amazon and plugging them into their laptops or plugging them into their desktops and recording directly on their hard drives and utilizing that audio as well. And a lot of times that sounds really good too. I'm used to the extreme professional equipment because I come out of the broadcast journalism network space. And so they use what is considered industry standard. So those are the things that I'm really used to, but those can be a heavier price tag and price point. But at the same time, you're going to get the optimal quality. So the same thing that radio announcers use, for example, the Breakfast Club or other, multi-million watched podcast users will use the, supreme industry standard podcast equipment. And so again, that's my experience, but you by no means have to start there. You can start with a podcast kit that's available on Amazon or Best Buy or any electronic store that sells microphone equipment, and you can plug it right into your phone even, or into your laptop, like I said, or desktop, and just get started. You can also, for a long time, I didn't have a professional microphone. I had all the other pieces, but not the mic. I hadn't made that investment yet. And so what I used was a lavalier mic. And I went to Best Buy and I bought a professional lav mic. Lavalier mic is one that like attaches to your clothes, like this one does, and you can use that. There are people that have wireless Rode mics and use wireless Rode mics. You just want crisp audio, is the point. At this point, the way that content technology has evolved, you can start playing in the game at many different price points from many different angles. You don't have to use the standard, anchored, mounted to a desk microphone that moves, like a traditional radio announcer or a traditional podcast. You can get in the game at many different levels, y'all. And that's the beautiful thing about today. Okay. So I'll stop there. Well, actually, one more thing just popped into my head. You can also, for video, um, you can use your iPhone to record content for a podcast because it's more long form. I don't know if I would recommend that, but it's available to you. Like if you want to record something really quick that you're going to make a TikTok or a reel or something like that to just tease the episode, or if you want to do behind the scenes, hey, I'm here with so and so today. We're recording this episode that will be out in a couple of months. You can do that. I guess this is kind of quick tips. If you batch content and record, I always recommend having like so many episodes in the can. So you don't have to do it like this, but it helps so that when you are always ahead of production schedule, if you will. So if something happens, you get sick, or your child gets sick, or you're on vacation or whatever, you have so many episodes in the can, and you can kind of like recover from that time away. So therefore, you stay consistent in the marketplace with your episodes. Um, Too many people are relying on inspiration and like recording in real time and then uploading the next day or the same day. And that, unfortunately, is just not sustainable because you're a human being that needs the flexibility. So batching content, just like you would for social media, is also really a great tactic for podcasting. If you can do 2 episodes at a time or something like that, that works. Or if you have a day that you block out a couple hours for recording and you have different guests on back to back, you can do that. There's lots of different ways that you can do it. And I would love to partner with you to ideate and create your podcast, get it launched in the marketplace, get you clear about what it is that you do, what you're talking about, who you serve, help you plan that bomb photo shoot, okay? So that you have an amazing graphic art, and yeah, get you all set up with your calendar and your pitches to your clients, and get you rolling in making a difference and getting your story out there and connecting with your tribe that is already looking for you on that marketplace. All right. And did I talk about distribution channels? Yes, I did. I talked about Apple and Spotify. There are other distribution channels out there for podcasting, but those are the main ones. And you can just register with them directly and plug in your RSS feeds. Yes, if you do it organically by building it from scratch. All right. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.